They illegally listed my lake cabin for sale, without notice, without paperwork, nothing, just a quiet little move buried in their HOA meeting minutes. I caught it just in time, so I made a move of my own. I bought the building their HOA runs out of, their precious Clubhouse. Then I jacked up the rent, cut their access hours, and sent them a certified notice titled, "Welcome to Landlord Hell." They panicked, they cried, foul, and yes, they actually called 911. On me, the owner. This time, the Lakeview wasn't the only thing getting sold, their power was on the market. And I bought all of it. I was skimming emails when I saw the subject line. Notice of listing Lot 1 for B. Lot 1 for B was my lake cabin. At first, I assumed it was a mistake, maybe a marketing email gone wrong. But when I opened the PDF attachment, my stomach dropped. There it was, an official HOA listing summary, complete with photos of my property, a brief description, and an asking price I never approved. My name wasn't even on the listing, just a property ID and the words, "Sale, approved via board vote." June 3rd, they were actually trying to sell my home. Now, here's the kicker. I own that cabin outright. No mortgage, no lien, no lien. I paid for it in cash 3 years ago, after getting out of the city grind. It's on private land, tucked right at the edge of HOA territory, just close enough that they claim shared infrastructure access, like road maintenance and lake use. So years ago, I signed their stupid agreement just to keep things smooth. Big mistake. Turns out, buried deep in their 68-page covenant was a clause. Failure to comply with structural maintenance standards after 3 warnings may result in forced listing pending board vote. I had received 2 warnings in the past 18 months, both absurd. One for an unapproved shade of wood stain on my dock, the other for inconsistent trimming of brush near the trail. But I never got a third. They skipped the warning and went straight to the sale. I drove straight to the HOA office, a sleek modern box of a building called Lakeside Commons, their precious little clubhouse. It was locked. A sign on the door read, "Meetings by appointment only. Contact KL Holdings." KL Holdings was the HOA's management company. I later found out it was run by Karen Lemmings, the same Karen who lived 3 houses down from me and had once scolded my nephew for paddleboarding too aggressively. I called their number, voicemail, so I called my lawyer. Her response was immediate. "They can't do that, not legally." But proving that would take time, and if the sale posted publicly, things could get messy fast. So I did what any panicked, furious, slightly unhinged person would do. I searched public records, and I found it. The Lakeside Commons, HOA Clubhouse, parcel ID 84073A, was under a lease, but not a very strong one. The owner was a quiet little real estate fund that had bought the land. Years ago for tax purposes, the lease was up for renewal. In 30 days, I made a call. 2 weeks later, I bought the land and the building. I became their landlord. They had 18 months left on their lease. But renewal, that would be on my terms now. I waited. I didn't say a word. Then the day came. July 12th, they hosted an HOA barbecue. Karen stood outside the clubhouse, clipboard in hand, smug as ever, waving at guests like she ran the whole lake. That's when I had the certified notice delivered, a rent increase. 3x the current rate. Due in 30 days. The clubhouse fell into chaos. Karen tried to call a meeting. I revoked after-hours access. They posted about me in the community Facebook group. I screenshotted every word. Then they called the police, claiming I was sabotaging HOA operations. When the officer showed up and I handed him the deed to the building, he actually laughed. You bought their headquarters. Yep. You planning to evict them? Not yet. I like watching them sweat, and that was just the beginning. Karen didn't take it well. She stormed onto my property. Yes, my cabin, the next morning in flip-flops, still clutching her HOA badge like it meant something. She slapped a notice on my door. It read, violation of community spirit, clause section 7, be subject to fine community spirit. That was a new one. I calmly removed the notice, walked it back to her Prius, and slid it under her windshield wiper. Then I looked her in the eye and said, next time, knock, or better yet, bring a lawyer. By the end of that week, HOA funds were in chaos. My rent increase meant they couldn't afford their landscaping vendor, their printer lease, or the community pool cleaning contract. Neighbors started noticing. The Lakefront Bulletin Board had a passive-aggressive note. HOA services temporarily paused due to ... unforeseen financial burdens. Unforeseen, my ass. At the next emergency board meeting, which I now had legal right to attend as property owner of the HOA's operating base, I sat in the back row with popcorn. Karen stood at the front, beat-tread, reading financials. Our operations are being threatened by external forces hostile to our mission. Karen, I said, raising a hand, you mean me, right? Dead silence. I stood and walked to the front. Asterisk, since we're being transparent, I said, handing out photocopies, here's the current lease. You'll notice clause 18A, landlord reserves the right to terminate with 90 days. Notice without cause. So let's talk terms. You either drop your illegal listing of my property, or in 3 months, you'll be holding HOA meetings in a gazebo. They voted to table the conversation. I served notice the next morning. Cue the meltdown. Karen filed a motion to block the termination. Denied. She called the police again, this time claiming harassment. The responding officer recognized me. Landlord again, he asked. Asterisk, same guy. I smiled. She threatened to sue. I sent her a packet of screenshots from the HOA Facebook page showing her calling me a squatter with a petty streak. Defamation. Karen. She went quiet. Then the clubhouse lights went off. Literally. Their automatic payment to the electric company bounced. Asterisk, 3 days later. The HOA board resigned. Karen included. I listed the building for lease. Commercial use only. The new tenant, a paddleboard rental company. Asterisk, the same one Karen once tried to shut down for disturbing the lakefront tranquility. I gave them a 5-year lease with lake access priority. Now I wave at Karen from my dock every Saturday as people line up outside. The old clubhouse. Loud music bumping. Paddleboards crashing gently.